Alright, what's up everybody? So today I thought we could talk a little bit about anti-aging, and my camera quality is not very good today, so you'll have to forgive me, but I thought we could just have a little discussion on anti-aging and kind of like what I've done over the years to help me combat and prevent the aging process. And I'm 29 and a half. I will be 30 this year. I feel like I look pretty good considering, especially after all the stress I've been through in my life. I have been through a lot, really, like a lot more than most people, I will say that. So anyways, the first thing I will mention is that anti-aging, the number one thing that I could tell you about it is that it's all about consistency. You have to be consistent, you have to be proactive, and you have to be in a routine of taking care of your body. And your mind is important too. The mind also has a lot to do with it. But let's talk about the physical aspects. Okay, so I will be completely honest. Some of it is genetic, and some of it will be genetic. So if you have a genetic tendency to age quickly, no matter what you do, there's still a possibility that you might still age a little bit quicker than the average person. Okay, so genetics can definitely play a role. In my case, I feel like I have some pretty good genetics when it comes to anti-aging. So I know that that has a lot to do with the way I look. But let's talk about what we can do and what we do have control over. So on a physical level, it's all about routine. So first and foremost, the number one thing I feel is diet. What you're putting in your body, what you're eating, and what you are drinking. So eating really healthy, eating as many organic foods as possible, avoiding artificial constituents in your foods and your drinks, artificial flavors, colors, artificial sweeteners, like preserved processed meats and cheeses and things of that nature. And I mean, everyone has a different diet they follow, and there's really no particular diet that's going to be right for everyone, because everyone's going to have a different type of diet that's going to be best for their own individual body. And that's kind of where intuitive eating comes in, and you just kind of get to know your body and know what you need. So diet, absolutely number one. Drinking lots of water, making sure it's filtered water. The purer the better. Not drinking tap water, drinking the real deal. Staying hydrated, adding minerals back into your system, and just taking care of your body on a nutritional level. Supplementation, taking supplements and vitamins to help you stay healthy, because what's going on the inside is going to reflect on the outside. So hydration is a big issue. If you drink a whole lot of caffeine like I do, tea, alcohol, people that drink soda, all of those things are very dehydrating. So if you're going to drink those things, drink a lot of water to counteract that. Okay, so moving on to exercise would definitely be number two. I don't know if you guys know of Denise Austin. She is, I believe she's 63 now. I could be wrong. She might be 62. Anyways, Denise Austin is a fitness icon, and she was very, very popular back in like the 1980s and 90s. And anyways, like, she still looks amazing, and she claims that she's had no work done and that this is all natural, but from diet and exercise. And honestly, I feel like there's a whole lot of truth to that. Definitely regular exercise. And the number one thing is you got to be consistent about all these things that I'm going to mention. So, also talking on a physical level, stress and sleep deprivation can play a little bit of a role. However, I have found from personal experience that stress and sleep deprivation, long term, a little bit of a different story, but short term, when you're just going through phases where you're struggling, I don't feel that it is ultimately going to affect you a whole lot. But with that being said, I mean, obviously you do want to avoid high stress levels if at all possible. Obviously we know that's not always possible. You will have sleepless nights in your life, especially if you have children. So that's where everything else comes in. That's where all the other things that you come in, like supplementation, meditating, taking time to exercise, to eat right, to do little things that just kind of help you. Getting into nature is a very important thing. Using crystals, organic incense, certain types of candles, certain types of, essential oils. I will say essential oils have done wonders for me when it comes to anti-aging. And that's a whole nother thing with the essential oils. But okay, so what else do we have? Skincare. I will talk about skincare, and that comes after all the other things I have mentioned. And these are just my opinions. These are just things that I do. Okay, so with skincare, in my opinion, I think you need to wash your face twice a day, every day, like clockwork, without fail. Do not ever sleep in your makeup. If you do, just continue on and keep going with the routine. And I would recommend doing like a face mask to counteract that. And I do a face mask about twice a week on average. I also exfoliate my whole entire body and my face about twice a week. Yeah, twice a week. So I use baking soda once a week and coffee grounds once a week. So I alternate between baking soda and coffee grounds. The coffee grounds also help wake up the skin and the circulation with all the caffeine. But you can get certain types of body scrubs. I just make my own. So I moisturize my whole entire body as well as my face twice a day, morning and night. And throughout the day on my face, I will kind of apply a few times throughout the day, like some refreshing spray, or I will apply some serum, even just over my makeup, or even some essential oil a couple times a day. And that helps a whole lot to think about your face and your skincare during your day as well. That's a really important thing to consider. So cleanse and moisturize at least twice a day. Toning is optional. I do actually typically use my toner twice a day. Right now I have a witch hazel toner that I'm using. You can use just straight witch hazel. If you have really dry skin, I wouldn't recommend this, but then you can also use something like lemon juice to make a good astringent, but that can also kind of lighten up your skin. So if you're not looking to lighten up your skin, I wouldn't recommend that either, but that will tighten your skin. So if you have really oily skin, you can even use a tad bit of rubbing alcohol, or you can use some apple cider vinegar, which I normally use apple cider vinegar. It does have a potent smell. So cleanse, tone, moisturize, and a lot of you probably already know this. So with that being said, those are most of the things I would recommend on a physical level. You can go get professional treatments, facials, etc. You can order professional products. I personally don't use a lot of expensive products. I generally make my own, kind of do my own thing. But when you're consistent and you know what you're doing, it doesn't take much. So anyways, and another thing I would emphasize as well is using products, and especially even with your hair, like your shampoo and conditioner, your skincare products, soaps, oils, lotions. Make sure that the ingredients are clean, that you're not using artificial ingredients in your products, because that will age you faster as well. Wearing too much makeup will age your face faster. You want to go light on the makeup. Just do the best you can with that in that respect. Make sure you're getting all your makeup off at night and washing really well. Mineral makeup, something to look into. I use some of that. So on a physical level, those are things we can do. On a mental and emotional level, we kind of talked about meditation, stress management. Let's see, what else would we mention on that? I think the last thing I would mention in that respect would be quite simply just, it's really about a mindset. You have to think to yourself, do you really want to put thoughts in your mind of, oh, I'm getting older, I am aging, I'm almost 30, or I'm almost 40 or 50, or however old you are. Don't think like that. You got to think in terms of, wow, look, I'm almost 30, but I feel like I'm 18, or I don't feel a day over 20 and I'm 60 years old. I mean, you really just have to think positive, encouraging thoughts. Really, positivity is a huge thing. And just imagine, imagine your skin being lifted, and imagine your body in its perfect state. And this goes for a whole lot, everything, not just skincare, not just anti-aging, because aging is something that happens not only in the physical but in the mental and emotional bodies. So it's not just a physical thing. It happens in so many respects, but mostly we think about the physical aspect. So these are just some things I would recommend. Honestly, I could go on for a really long time about this, but these would be my number one points. My main points to consider, guys. So hopefully you can take something from this, and hopefully you can just kind of think up, be creative, do your own thing, figure out what works for you and what you can do to help you prevent the aging process. And the last thing I will mention before I end this video is that I highly recommend starting as young as possible. So if you have kids or you plan to have children, go ahead and ingrain in their minds very early and make a routine, for them to be healthy and to exercise, eat right, to take their vitamins, minerals, do things like, put lotion on them sometimes, use certain types of essential oils and things like that. Do things that will help them and, kind of get them in a routine of taking care of their skin. Because you only get one skin, you do have to be careful. So, I want to mention one more thing now that I just thought about it. Okay, UV exposure is a controversial topic. A lot of people will tell you that UV exposure will age you. And what I can say when it comes to that, in my opinion, is that it all depends. I think if you are exposing yourself to tons and tons of sunlight, direct sunlight, I think it can age you a little bit more. But I really want to point out the main thing with that is the drying out of the skin and the development of brown spots. So, and then of course, you do want to think about skin cancer, but that's kind of something I'll have to talk about later because it's a long topic, and there's a lot to it. So, but me personally, I've been going to the tanning bed for, and I've mentioned this in some of my other videos, but I'm not going to get into detail on this in this video. So I've been using a tanning bed for years. I think I started when I was 17. I have taken breaks. I've done it on and off. But, I have found an even balance about how often I do it and what kind of bed I use, what kind of skincare I use, my lotions. And the most important thing when it comes to sun exposure is making sure that you are moisturizing like crazy, making sure that you are giving your skin all the nutrients it needs, and making sure that you don't burn. Burning is not a good thing. You don't want to sunburn. So if you're going to use sunscreen, don't use conventional. Make sure that you're using the ones that contain, I think it's titanium dioxide, zinc oxide, I'm not sure. It's the same ingredient, I believe, that they put in like diaper rash cream. But yeah, be careful with your sunscreen too, because that's another thing that can be really toxic if you're not careful. So, because you have to consider when you're wearing that, it's blocking the vitamin D from absorbing into your skin as well, and you want that vitamin D. So yeah, if you're spending a lot of time in the sun, or if you're using a tanning bed, don't think it's going to necessarily age you more, because I'm living proof that it doesn't necessarily do that. So it's really about taking care of your body and taking care of your skin. So with all that being said, I hope you guys can get something from this. Thank you so much.